Hi, welcome to our third and final review of the evening. And up this time is FutureGrind. Um, well, it's kind of in the name. You are a bike practitioner of the future, and your job is to grind rails. I'm like, um, I guess there is a bit more to it in terms of gameplay, as you can also do tricks in the air. It's not too far removed from, say, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater in terms of, tricks and grinds.
Or I
But,
guess for the kids nowadays, Trials HD or whatever.
yeah, the Trial series is probably a closer cousin. Although, this is probably more forgiving than the Trial series.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is not to say that this game is easy, or at least when it starts out, it's pretty easy to it eases you in, and then it hits you with one of the biggest difficulty spikes I've seen in quite a while. Like
A difficulty spike so big it'll snap your neck.
maybe so, or at least the game. It goes like the first spike, the slice spike has like the added premise here with the rails is your bike tires and the rail have to match colors. If they don't, you explode. There's also white grinding rails, which are safe but will reset your multiplier. And yes, multipliers are one of the ways you get the big points. And once you upgrade to the second bike, the left coast bike, that's where you're gonna die a lot, because that's where they introduce alternating wheels. Like one wheel is like blue, the other is red, and you've got to make sure the right color hits the right tread or rail in this case, or you got to. It introduces balancing to the act, like actual balancing. And since we've got some real world gravity going on here, that means making sure you don't tip over, and that's while still moving at a pretty rapid clip.
It's also looking like your other rail doesn't slip onto a rail that will make you blow up.
Yes. And to compound this, so each mission starts out with the basic objective: survive the track. So, you don't have to do a lot to survive the track. And also worth noting, this game, to its credit, does include an assist mode, two assist modes. I didn't turn on the other option, but one of the things is you can turn off the different rail lights make you explode. So it makes things much easier. And I turned that off because I wanted to unlock stuff. It's like, unlocking stuff becomes a lot easier once you've taken away that restriction. Because this game is very much about trial and error and retrying and track memorization, and getting good enough at a track to pass it. And as an added layer, each track has 2 additional missions where you have to do extra stuff, whether it's to pull off a certain trick, don't hit any white rails, and what have you. And that is usually even harder to do if you hit the wrong you hit the wrong thing, you die. And it gets even harder with further bikes. Like the third bike, I forget what it's called, introduces asymmetrical wheels. Basically,
that's fun.
One wheel is bigger than the other. I'm like, and also introduces jump balls, and then after that, then it starts messing around with the jumps. Because the fourth bike has, you can triple jump, but you can't jump very far. So it's actually harder to jump with that bike. The fifth and the last bike I got had a trick with the wheels. Didn't really play around too much of that because, well, I got to some tasks that were hard to unlock even with the assist mode on. They wanted me to do this move called the hang grind, which is you've got to flip twice in the air, and then it'll open up the wings so you can grind on a rail. It's kind of hard to do, and when they wanted you to do a certain amount, yeah, it's like that's about where I got stuck. You know, yeah, it's like overall the game is a good, solid challenge. Not for me though. Like, I'll be honest, I have patience problems. Like, I've never been into the whole die until you get it right kind of gameplay. But I recognize that as a personal preference because, you know, with the assist mode on, most of the tracks, most of the tasks are way too easy. Also, there's another reason to have assist mode off. In order to get your score actually posted on leaderboards, you need to play the game honestly. You know, you can unlock stuff. You can unlock the whole game using the assist modes. What you can't do is post a score, and you know, it's like, which is fair enough. I didn't give a shit about the score, so you know, off that shit wins. But you know, the actual core of the game is literally trying to find balance on these rails, and and that core doesn't really change, even when they change like your bikes and stuff. You know, it's just it gets harder. It does. That being said, this isn't a terribly big game. I think I was over like 75% done when I got when I hit the next wall, as it were. Like, yeah. But then again, this game isn't really about unlocking stuff. That's just you know, the requisite campaign mode. The real meat is in the replayability, the getting the best score on each track, which will be a much longer challenge. Yeah. You know, the graphics and the aesthetic match the whole future portion of the title. You know, which, like the first game reviewed tonight, that means a lot of neon and techno. Like, but not too much techno. Like the soundtrack, I think, is only 4 tracks. And I can't say the actual music was all that distinct. Like, it's like, once again, this kind of aesthetic, you know, is nice, but I can't say is the most unique thing I can think of. You know, it basically screams, you know, neon is the future. Because I don't know, we really grew to
neon is the future circa 1980.
Yeah, it's like we really grew to like neon. And yeah, this basically looks like a new wave retro poster in some shots. And honestly, there isn't that much to the game in terms of gameplay and such. And that gets me to price. This game clocks in at $20. Yeah, I'm going to say that's a bit too much for what they're asking for here. Probably better at 15. Also worth noting, no soundtrack available on Steam, but you can, I believe you can get it on, I want to say Spotify. Let's see. Well, no, here it is. It's on a thing called Big Nick. Never heard of it. But yeah, you can get and play the soundtrack for free on this thing. Once again, it's only 4 tracks, so it's not that much, but it's something. Like, and there's no digital deluxe versions or anything. $20 is the only price here. I'm gonna say wait for a sale. It's good, but I don't think the gameplay is enough to sustain it for long play sessions or anything like that.
Like this did say it's either coming out or on the Switch, and that might be a better place for this.
It is. I think it's on the play. It's either coming to or it's on the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch as well.
Yeah.
So.
And I'd say probably the Switch might be a better place to pick this up.
Probably. Yeah. Like. Also worth noting for the PC version, if you play this, be sure to have a controller handy because it is recommended. I don't think it's outright required, but you will do well. Like, this game definitely works better with analog sticks and the button than with the keyboard and mouse. Which I suppose is a great surprise given what's on display here. Overall, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Solid, but not too amazing. Probably would be better served with one of the Trials games. And yeah, that's about it for this one. So that brings us to the end of another review session for the Fragments of Silicon and the week ahead. So coming up on Tuesday, February 19th, we do have a Tuesday interview, as far as I know. They could cancel at the last second. That has happened many times in the past. But as of this recording, we will be having Timo Uleman and Jonathan Lindsay of Jaeger. They are probably best known as the developers of Spec Ops: The Line, and they are currently developing a new multiplayer shooter called The Cycle, which is, I think, in alpha state right now, or heading to that. And on Wednesday, February 20th, we will be heading back to our roots, so to speak, as we interview John Delia of Retroware TV. Yes, it is a non-game dev episode. This was supposed to happen back in January, but it got delayed due to a last-minute illness. So that is what's coming up on the week ahead. Be sure to tune in. And until Tuesday, I wish you good gaming.